Hey everyone, my name is Abhishek and today we are going to create this amazing typography animation in After Effects without using any third-party plugin. So let's begin. Alright, so right now I'm in After Effects and we will begin by creating a new composition. So let's go to composition, new comp, and I'm going to call this main. Width and height will be 1920 by 1080, frame rate 30 fps, and duration you can pick whatever you want. Just click on OK. Now I'm going to create another composition for our text. So let's go to composition, new comp, and I'm going to call this type, and it's completely up to you. You can set width to whatever you want. I'm going to make this a square comp. So for that I'm going to set this to something like 2000 by 2000, but it's completely up to you. You can create a rectangular comp however you want. Rest of the things will remain same. Just click on OK. Now we are ready to add our text. So for that I'm going to select my text tool, and for this example I'm going to use this blockout font. Now this works very well with this type of animation, but it's completely up to you. You can create your own custom types or you can use any other font. But for this one we are going to use this blockout, and I will put a link in the description from where you can download this. So now you can just simply click and you can type whatever you want. But for this example I'm going to type just do it. So I'm going to first type the just, and let me just quickly select this and let's press S to scale this up. So I'm going to just scale this somewhere around here. Now we can place this in the center. So if you're not able to see the align panel, you can go to Windows and from here you can enable it. Now let me just quickly press Ctrl R to enable the rulers, or you can go to Windows and from here you can enable these. And let me just quickly select some points so we can align our text, and let's place it over here, and let's drag one from here, and I'm going to place this one over here. Once you're done with this, we can select our text and we can just simply move this and let's align it over here. You can see that I have enabled the snapping so that this will automatically snap to the rulers. Let's move its anchor point somewhere around here. So for that you can select the move anchor tool and let's click and let's drag it over here, and you can see that it will snap it onto this edge, which is exactly what we want. So once you're happy with your text, we are ready to create another copy. So we can select this and press Ctrl D, and let's place this one below. And on this one I'm going to call this do it. So just type do it and let's quickly select this, and I'm going to place it to this ruler. Now we are going to align this so that this distance is equal to this one. So in order to do that, we can just simply create a rectangle. So let's simply zoom in and I'm going to just click and drag. So here you can see we are creating a rectangle which is exactly of this size. Let me just quickly change its color to red so that we can view this. Now I'm going to press R to rotate it, and let's rotate it by 90 degrees so that we can place it over here. And let's place it somewhere along this edge, something like this. Now we can easily use our text and let's place it so that it touches the space, and now you can see that we have evened out these spaces. Now we can probably delete this because we don't need this. Let's delete this one, and I'm going to select this and let's move its anchor point over here. Let's select the pan anchor tool and let's place it over here. Now we can press S to scale this up so that it matches with this line, and let's press S, and I'm going to just quickly scale this up and let's align it so that it matches with this endpoint. You can also create a ruler. You can just click and drag and let's align it over here, and now you can easily scale this up just like that. So before we proceed, a lot of you watching right now have not subscribed to my channel, and I want you to please do that because I want to hit 100k subscribers this year on my channel. So make sure to subscribe and press the bell icon. So let's continue. So here you can see we have created our text, and it's completely up to you. You can type whatever you want. You can create a rectangular text or however you want. But for this one I'm going to create this square form, and let me just quickly place it to somewhere around here. So now we are done with our text, and we are going to convert them into shapes so that we can animate them individually. So for that, first I'm going to select the just text and let's right click, go to create, and let's create shape from text. And now you can select the text, and you can probably delete this because we don't need that. Now you can select this, and you can see that we have a bunch of different characters. So we have total 4 characters, and for this example we are going to create 4 copies of it. So you can select this, press Ctrl D. So now you can see that we have 4 copies, and we are going to delete all the text which we don't need. So for this one, we are going to open this up. Let's go under the content, and I'm going to delete all the characters except the J. And let's open up this one, and under here I'm going to delete all the characters except U. So in the same way, you have to delete all the characters which you don't need on that layer. So let's keep the S, and from here we are going to delete all the characters except T. So now you can see we have individually aligned the characters, and we can quickly rename them. So let's call this JST. So now you can see that we have our text, and we can do the same thing with this one. So let's select this, right click, create, and let's create shape from text. We can delete the text, we don't need it. Here you can see we have 4 characters in this one as well. So I'm going to create 4 copies, something like this. Now we can again open this up. Let's go under the content, and I'm going to delete everything except the first one. Again, let me just quickly rename this. So this one is D. Now you can see we have individual characters into these shape layers, and we can tweak them further. So you can see that we have a couple of elements which we actually don't need. So you can see that in this T we have this square, and we actually don't need. So we can quickly open this up. Let's go under the T, and you can see we have these 2 elements, and you can just turn this off. And here you can see we are not able to see this. We can probably select this, and let's press delete to delete this one. And let's do a couple of these over here as well. So I don't need this. So let's open this up. Let's go under the T, and we have this one. So let's select this and press delete. And let's do the same thing over here. So I don't need this. So let's select the D. Let's go under the D, and from here let's quickly enable this. So you can see that we have this element. So I'm going to press delete to delete this. And also over here we have this U, and let's open this up. So let's delete this. Now here you can see we have got rid of most of the elements which you don't need. And our next step is to make them proper size. So in order to do that, I'm first going to quickly align the ruler so that we can move them just like this. And let's add a ruler to the bottom. Let's place it over here. So now we are ready to move these text, and let me just quickly extend these arms. So now to do that, just select the shape and just select the pen tool. Now you can click on these edges, and you can just hold down shift key, and you can just keep on selecting these points. Now you can hold down the shift key, and you can just simply move them so that these will align themselves, and something like this. So let's do the same thing with this D. So let's select the D, and let's zoom in, and from here we are going to select this point. Hold on the shift key, just keep on clicking, and just select these points, and let's move them down, something like this. Also under the J, I want this to be joined with this letter. So let's open this up, and we can probably select these points, hold on shift key, and just move them so that these are joined just like this. So now our next step is to align these gaps vertically. So you can see that we have a gap over here, and we have a gap over here. So I want them to be aligned. So for that, I'm going to select the D, and I'm going to just select these endpoints, something like this. And let's select these as well. And now you can hold on shift key, and you can just move them. And we can probably add a ruler so that we can move them precisely just like this. Now we can fix this proportion. So we can select this, and let's select all of these, and let's set this to full. And now you can use the arrow keys to move this somewhere in the middle just like that. And let's do the same thing with this O. So I'm going to select the O, and we can move them easily with the help of these keys. And here you can see that it has aligned itself with this edge. And now we can play around with these, and let's select these endpoints. And just move them so that they align over here as well. Just like this. Again, you can select this middle point. Let's select O. Again, you can select these middle points, and you can place them in the middle using the arrow keys, something like this. So here you can see we have O aligned, and our next step is to align these two. So let's select I, and I'm going to select all of these points, Over here we have this T letter and both of these are same. So I want this to have a different kind of shape. So for that we can probably select this and I'm going to hide this and I'm going to create T on my own. So for that let's select the pen tool and we can just create a rough block. So let's click over here. Let's click something around here and just create a random rectangle just like this. Now we can select these endpoints and let's move them to this side. Perfect. Now we can click somewhere around here and let's add a couple of more points. Now you can select these 2 points and you can just move them down while holding the shift key. Now we can use rulers to align them. So let's select the ruler and I'm going to place this one over here. And let's go down and we can probably select this edge point and let's align it with the ruler. And let's do the same thing over here as well. Just like that. Now you can select all of these points and you can play around with their position and you can move them something like this. So here you can see we have our T and let's quickly align our I. So I'm going to select this and let's select all of these points. And let's move them down. Now you can select these points and you can move them to the side. Something like this. So here you can see we have created our text and once you're happy with this, we are ready to animate this. Let me just quickly call this T and let's change its color to white for now. Perfect. Now in order to animate them, we are going to select all of them by pressing Ctrl A. Then you can press U to collapse all the layers and make sure that this is set to fit to 100. And after that you can select all the layers and except this T, we don't need this. So let me just quickly delete this. Let's select all of them and let's search for path. Now just click on this stopwatch and you can drag your mouse down below while holding the mouse key so that it will add keyframes for these paths. Now you can press U to see all the keyframes and we are ready to do some animation. So in order to do this, let's quickly zoom in to the timeline and I'm going to move this to somewhere around 1 second. Now it's completely up to you. You can play around with their position. You can make a couple of these letters expand and a couple of these will shrink. So let's start from this J and let's select this J and I want this to come down. So let's select these endpoints, hold down the shift key and just click. Now you can hold down the shift key and use arrow keys. So I'm pressing this once, twice, and here you can see we have J and it has extended. Now in the same way, I want this T to expand down. So I'm going to select the D and let's select these points. So these top points and these two. Again, shift and let's press this twice. So now you can see that we have the D shrinked, something like this. And in the same way, we can do something over here. So let's expand this O. And let's select the U and I'm going to first make this shrink. So let's select these endpoints, hold down shift key and let's move this something around here. Let's move this twice and let's select the O. Again, let's select these points and let's move them just like that. So here you can see we have these two expanding and in the same way you can play around with these as well. So let's make this T come to this side. So let's select this T and I'm going to select these points. And let's place it over here and now we can shrink the S. So let's select the S and I'm going to select all of these points. Make sure to hold down the shift key while selecting the points. And now we can shrink this something like that. And you can see that these points are way too closer. So we can again select them. And now you can use arrow keys to make them somewhere around here. So here you can see we have this very nice animation. And in the same way we can do it something around here. So let's select this T and I'm going to select these points. And let's move them down. And let's select the I and I'm going to make this shrink. So let's select these points. And let's move them down. just like that. So here you can see we have this sort of animation, and again you can move to somewhere around 2 seconds, and from here you can start animating them in some other direction. So for example, I want this O to come back to its original position, so let's select this O, and we can probably select the keyframes and let's paste them. And I want the U to come back as well, so I'm going to select the starting keyframe and let's paste it, something like this. And now I'm going to expand this O to the other side, so for that let's go to somewhere around 3 and let's select the O, and we are going to select these points. And let's move it to somewhere around here, and let's play around with the T. So I'm going to select the T, and you can see that we don't have any keyframe over here. So first we're going to move it over here, and let's add a keyframe, and let's go to the 3-second mark, and now we can play around with its position. So let's select these points, and you can play around with their position and place it somewhere around here. Let's select these points and let's move it something like that. You can probably select these and let's move it over here. Now let's play with I. So let's select the I, and I'm going to select these points and let's move this somewhere around here, and let's select these points as well and let's move them just like that. So here you can see sometimes the keyframe will overlap, and you can fix that by simply seeing if we don't have any keyframe over here, then you can just simply copy these and just paste them. Just copy these and paste it, something like this. And we have one over here as well. So let's copy this and paste it, and let's copy and paste it over here. So now you can see that all these elements are moving, something like this. And again, in the same way, you can just keep on going. And let's select this S, and I'm going to add a keyframe. And let's move it over here, and let's select the first one and press paste. Let's do the same thing with this T. Let's copy this and paste it. Let's move it over here, and let's copy the first, and I'm going to paste it. So here you can see we have this sort of animation, and these are moving perfectly. And we can also play around with the J. So let's copy and paste it, and let's paste it over here, and let's copy the beginning and paste it around here. Let's play around with the D. So let's select this, and let's copy this keyframe and let's paste, and let's move it over here. And just do the same thing with these keyframes. So basically we are moving them to their starting position, just like this. So here you can see we have this sort of animation, and in the same way you can just keep on going, and you can just keep on adding these keyframes, and all these will start animating. So once you're done with this, we can tweak this further to make this more interesting by simply selecting all the keyframes, something like this. Then you can press F9 to ease them. Then you can go in the graph editor, and if your graph looks different, then make sure you are in the edit speed graph, not the value graph. After that, you can just click and drag. Now you can move the handles, and you can make your graph to look something like this. Now if I go back, and now if I play, here you can see we have this very nice animation. Now if you think that this is too slow, then you can hold on the Alt key or Option key and make sure all the keyframes are selected. Then you can select the last keyframe, and you can just click and drag, and you can see that it will decrease the space between them, which will make them faster, something like this. So in the same way, you can just keep on adding these keyframes, and you can just play around with these shapes, and you can continue creating this animation. So once you're done with this, you can add some colors to them. For that, just simply search for fill, and you can just drag it onto whatever color you want, and you can just play around with it, and then just simply copy it, and you can paste it onto a bunch of different elements. So here you can see we are done with the colors, and if you want, you can also select these, and let's go to the very end. You can see that we have all the keyframes stopping over here, and you can hold on the Alt key and the right square bracket to trim all of these layers. Now you can just simply press N, and after that you can right click, trim comp to work area. Now you can go back to the main comp and you can drag your type, and you can probably scale this down something like this. And now you can add a background, right click, new solid, and I'm going to make this little bit gray. Let's place it below, and here you can see we have our text. Now if you want this to keep on going, then you can select this and press Ctrl D, right click, go to time, enable time reverse, and just place this at the very end. So here you can see that it will keep on going, and in the same way you can select both of them and keep on duplicating them and just placing them somewhere around here, and you can see that your animation will keep on going. So in this way you can create these kind of creative typography animation, and you can play around with bunch of different fonts and you can create some interesting animations like these. So I hope you learned something from this video, and if you have any queries or questions, then you can ask in the comments below. So with that being said, my name is Abhishek and I'll see you in the next one.